welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm your host. My topic this evening is the Middletown Motorcycle Mania, and with me to discuss this evening's topic are Rich and Jennifer, he tries to say, from Motorcycle Mania. Guys, welcome. How are you?
Great, hey. Pete. Thanks.
Good.
Thanks for having us.
Not a problem. Thanks for coming down. So, Rich, people probably think, hey, this guy looks familiar. You and I were actually on not long ago talking about Cruise Night on Maine.
That's correct.
And before we get into tonight's topic, tonight's show, how'd you guys make out?
We did very well. We had a good crowd like we did the year before.
Excellent.
A little bit less, but the weather was cooperative. It wasn't sweltering. No. And you were there, so
that's right.
you know how the weather was that night, so it was pretty good.
Exactly. So what part do you play in the Motorcycle Mania? Are you on the committee?
I am on the committee, but I also chair the committee for this event. The car show, I'm a member of the committee, but this one I chair it and pretty much run the whole event.
Cool. Very nice. How things going so far?
Very well. Very well. We already got vendors calling in, signing up online, and a lot of chat early on Facebook. I know, Jen, I've been getting a lot of hits on my page, on my Facebook page for the event. In fact, one day I think I had 10, which is a record, 10 in one within a 3-hour span.
Excellent.
So we're doing well.
Cool.
Doing well.
So Jennifer, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're going to be doing for the event.
Sure. So my name's Jennifer Sequenzia, and I'm the owner of a business called All American Productions.
Okay.
And I'm a friend of Rich. And Rich asked me if I'd be interested in joining the Middletown Motorcycle Mania Committee.
All right.
And I was very excited. And so I joined, and ever since then, we've been working side by side, and we have a really good committee that we work with. And we're trying to make this show better than ever. So we're adding a lot of new things this year, which Rich can talk a little more about.
All right. Mm-hmm. All right. So Rich, how did the event come about? How the idea of the event come to?
It started in 2006. And what happened is one of the city councilmen was part of the car show committee.
Okay.
And he came up to Larry McHugh and said, we got this event going with the cars. Why don't we give it a shot with motorcycles? So they ran it the first year. I believe they had maybe 500-600 bikes that year for the first year, which isn't bad for a first-time event. Right. And it was a hit, and they said, well, let's continue it, and here we are going into year 11.
Wow, very nice. And the event is Main Street, Middletown?
It operates on Main Street, Middletown, side streets, sidewalks.
Parking lots, parking garages.
Right. Gotcha, okay.
Wherever the biker can find room to park a bike.
And the town green.
And the town green, yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And how about where the money, all the money raised, where's the money go that's raised from?
Money that's raised goes from the people that come in. We ask for a $5 donation.
All right.
All right, unless you have a show bike. I'll get more into that later. But,
sure.
That's a $10 donation. But for a $5 donation, it goes to the Middletown Mentor Program, and it goes to Middletown Park and Rec. Basically, it goes to help kids out.
All right. Now, what is the Middletown Mentor Program for those of our viewers and listeners?
The Mentor Program involves adults in the community. I mean, the mayor is a mentor, fire chief, policemen, firemen, business people. Mentoring a young individual, a young child, either a boy or a girl, who maybe their family life isn't the greatest. They have one parent, and they could use a little more attention, a little more guidance. So basically what happens with the program is the mentor meets them once a week for lunch.
Very nice.
And, they do have other activities, but that's usually one of the requirements. They'll go to the school where the child's a student and talk with them, see if they have any challenges, have any questions or issues that they want to talk to, and have a good time.
Right. Now, you said the other benefactor is going to be the
Park and Rec.
Park and Rec, that's right. Park
and Rec, the money helps to fund the summer Park and Rec programs that Middletown has.
Very nice, and that's pretty, obviously we're in the beginning of summer right now, so I'm sure they're
in full force.
I'm going to say they're probably pretty busy. Jennifer, and from what I understand by doing some homework, there's going to be a fashion show?
There will be a fashion show. This is the first time that Motorcycle Mania will have a fashion show. And what makes it even more exciting is we're teaming up with Gengris Harley Davidson. So
Excellent.
we will have women and men,
Okay.
all walking the runway about 6 o'clock
Okay.
on the Showmobile, which is the main stage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a great time. So it's a really nice tie-in to involve Motorcycle Mania, All American Productions, and Gengris Harley Davidson. We're really excited about it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And and typically, Rich, how many people have we had in the past to Motorcycle Mania?
Oh, a maximum 1 year of pretty close to 18,000.
There's a lot of people.
Wow.
It's a lot of people.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's a good thing. Like, I mean, we were
Sure.
we were talking before. If you get everybody, they walk around. They walk around the streets of the city, and they go visit the merchants, and
Yes.
it basically sounds to me like it's a win-win for everybody.
Sure is. It sure is.
It definitely is. People are able to park their bikes safely. They don't have to worry about them. Walk around, visit the vendors,
Right.
the food vendors, and then also visit the merchants downtown. So
Right.
it's just wonderful.
Exactly. And from what I understand, Rich, we also have sponsors.
We do, and I want to talk a little bit about that.
All right, yeah, go
Like I
for
said,
it.
when the event started in 2006, there were a couple instrumental people involved in it. One of them was Dan Hunter from Hunter Ambulance, Hunter
Sure.
Limousine founder. I'm
Sure,
sure everybody's heard that name.
Oh, yeah.
And Dan was one of the original founders. Unfortunately, he passed away tragically in a motorcycle accident.
Oh no.
All right, this is before I came on. It was just for the third year, I guess, that this happened.
Okay.
So the event's in memory of Dan Hunter.
Okay.
So our key sponsor, our presenting sponsor, is
Hunter.
the Hunter
Hunter
family,
okay.
Hunter Ambulance, Hunter Limo. They're
Okay.
what we call the title sponsor.
Okay.
So, and they've been there since day one.
All right.
All right. Gengris has been with us also pretty much since day one.
Okay.
New one that's come on, we had a different attorney's firm, and John Heyman
Sure.
has
Yep.
stepped up big time. In fact, we have a new title for him. Their title is called Driven, okay, the
Okay.
Driven sponsor. And he has stepped up big time for us in the last couple of years, especially this year as a sponsor.
Excellent.
Does some promo shots for us with commercials,
Yep.
you know, on TV, on radio, et cetera. And in addition to providing a lot of services with his crew.
Very nice.
He's got a staff of young ladies who help us with traffic control,
Yep.
help us collect money at the gate, flag down people.
Yeah.
I mean, Jennifer was a former Heyman girl,
Yeah.
so she
Were
knows
you?
what was
I
involved.
was for 5 years, and John Heyman is great.
Is he? I've seen
Yes.
him. I've met him. I've seen you guys at events.
Yeah.
Because my dad used to ride Harleys until he decided, you know what, I'm just getting too old for this. So he went from motorcycle to bicycle.
Oh.
So he went from one form of transportation on two wheels to another form of transportation on
Yeah.
two wheels.
So there are our two biggest sponsors.
All right.
I want to make sure I mention the others. That's why I'm going to put my glasses on.
Oh, sure.
Okay, because I don't want to slight anyone. Probably one of the other large ones, and I know they are, City of Middletown.
Absolutely.
Okay, and this is support from
Absolutely.
police, fire, the mayor,
Yep.
the city council,
Okay.
Public Works, name right down the road. They're one of our major sponsors. Without them, we couldn't pull this off.
Right.
Liberty Bank's been with us for a long time also.
Okay.
Middlesex Chamber, obviously.
Obviously.
We got Eli Cannons. We got Bank of America.
Yeah.
We mentioned Gengris already. We mentioned Jen, All American Productions. We've got Lyman's, okay, that
Lyman Orchards,
donates
yeah.
a couple golf carts, so I don't have to run up and down Main Street all night.
Very important.
Very important, okay.
I think they should give me a golf cart and you can run it up and down Main Street all night.
I tried that one night in boots. It doesn't work too well.
I was going to say, it's
I
probably
had
not
trouble
gonna add up
walking the
well.
next day. We also, Mezzo Grill is a big sponsor for us, but basically they throw a party later for the volunteers.
Really?
Provide us with food, et cetera. Okay, the alcohol's on your own, but
Right, but
they'll give us
food.
soda and water and food to feed the volunteers, first and last.
Mm-hmm.
Untouchable Towing, Middletown Area Transit. Those are our top
That's it.
sponsors, that's it. And without any of these sponsors, they're all important to us, whether they're a top sponsor or the lowest level
Yep.
contributing, but they make a big deal for us.
All very appreciated.
Definitely. Jen, I guess how did the idea of the fashion show come about?
Well, you know, I think it can add something really fun to any show.
Yeah.
When you're going to a show and you're looking at cars or you're looking at bikes, and you've done it for so many years, it's important to freshen it up. And we thought, okay, well, how can we tie this in and make it relevant to the show? It can't just be a fashion show where girls are in regular clothes. So let's tie it in and make it a motorcycle fashion show.
Yeah.
So now not only can people see some bikes, but they can see some motorcycle attire that maybe they're going to want to buy for themselves or for a gift. And then with Gengris having a booth there, they can go over and visit and then maybe go see them at the store later. So I thought it would be a good tie-in. I think it's good for Gengris, and it also lets them know how much we appreciate their sponsorship too.
Exactly, and hopefully you guys and you're gonna get a good turnout, and it's gonna be a beautiful night like it has been, because it's been weather's
Fingers
been
crossed.
great. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Hopefully though, it's gonna be a good weather night.
Absolutely.
We hope.
Yeah.
And what else would you like to add there, sir?
Well, the date would be important, I guess. We didn't get to that yet. It's not December.
I was gonna say we've been talking about all this other stuff. Let's talk about minor details.
Minor detail.
When?
Typically, and it is again this year, it's the second Wednesday in August.
Right.
Okay, which would be August 10th.
Yes.
Now, if for some reason it rains,
Yes.
it'll be the following Wednesday, which is the 17th.
Okay.
Now, in the past years, we've gone from 5 o'clock to 9. We're going to move it up to 4:30. We go 4:30 to 8:30.
Okay.
Reason why is it gets awful dark
Yep.
when we're trying to do the awards.
Okay.
It makes it a little more difficult to get things done.
It does.
You know, and in the interest, you know, one of the things that really concerns me about the event, and I'm sure Jen is too, public safety.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, totally.
You know, with everything going on in this environment, in this world, one of my major concerns is that people behave themselves.
Oh yeah.
Respect each other, respect everyone's rights. And,
Right.
And we don't have a problem with that. I know some of the events, they try to limit colors as far as guys coming in their vests with all their logos on from their motorcycle clubs. And we don't do that.
No.
They're welcome, as long as they behave, it's not a
Right.
problem.
No.
You know, and the issue with me is, you know, one incident is all it takes to ruin a great event that, as you were mentioning, all the people downtown, the vendors, et cetera, and the restaurants. This is a major bonus for them during
Oh
the
yeah,
year.
totally.
And we hope people come back. So
Totally.
that's all I ask for people that are watching this, you know, keep your nose clean is what I say.
I was going to say, over the years, I'm sure there's not been any incidents.
Knock on wood.
No? All right.
None.
None. Well, that's a good thing. The other thing we got to mention before we go into the break is the website.
Yep.
What is it?
Website is www.middletown
Yeah.
Motorcycle Mania
Yeah.
CT, all that in one breath.com.
Okay.
Middletown Motorcycle Mania CT.com.
All right. All right. And what types of information can people find out about?
I
on
can
the
find
website?
out about the event. They could find out pictures from previous years,
Okay.
how to register, how to become a sponsor, etc.
Excellent. Excellent. Would you guys mind sticking around for another segment?
Sure.
We'll be
Sounds
right
good.
back.
Okay.
Every day, the people in our community rally in support of United Way as we strive together to make a big impact to change lives in Middlesex County. From our main streets to our institutions, from our neighborhoods to our town halls and our classrooms, we're working with our partners to create a stronger community. It's an inspiring effort, and we invite you to join us. Volunteer, donate, live united.
Looking for Connecticut's best ride? You'll find it at the Closer to Free Ride. On September 10th, ride an inspiring 10, 25, 62.5, or 100 miles. Every dollar you raise supports research and care at Smilow Cancer Hospital at Yale New Haven. This is your ride. Register today at rideclosertofree.org and help bring our world closer to free.
And welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. With me are Rich and Jennifer from Middletown Motorcycle Mania. Welcome back, guys.
Thank you.
No problem. So, Rich, before we went into the break, we mentioned the website.
Yeah, it's been a change.
Let's mention it again.
You know, I can't know everything, you know? I try hard. There's no CT in there. It's actually www.middletownmotorcyclemania.com.
Okay.
Last year it has CT in it, so.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
All right, so no CT this year.
No CT.
They must have changed it up on you and didn't
Yep.
tell you. So I guess we also have a kids area?
Yes, we do. We have some other activities other than the motorcycles.
Well, let's talk about it.
We have a kids' fun area. And that's
Okay.
going to be in an area called Riverview Center, which is on the side of the police station. There's a
Okay.
pathway that goes to the garage.
Yep.
And the YMCA is going to be in that area.
Excellent.
They're going to do face painting and some more activities for kids.
Excellent.
As I said, this is a family event.
Yeah.
I know Jen and I go to a lot of events that are biker events,
Right.
per se, and you don't see too many kids walking around.
No.
Here you find kids, dogs, right?
Oh,
Dogs on a
definitely.
leash, of course.
Really?
On a leash, got to have a leash when you're walking your pet on Main Street.
Definitely family friendly.
Seen cats, some other animals there too.
Yes,
All right.
there's been some strange
So
things.
we're people and animal friendly, all right?
There you go.
So that's one of the main things going
Sure.
on with that. Didn't mention entertainment. We
Well-
typically have two bands.
Okay.
Okay, we usually put one band at Brew Bakers. And at Brew Bakers, it's a coffee shop. And usually when they play the first year, it's like, well, we'll listen to you. And if you do a good job, we'll promote you next year.
Right.
So they do that on a voluntary basis. They don't get paid for it.
Really?
However, if they're good enough, we move them up. Well, that's the case again this year. We moved up a group that's very popular in Connecticut.
Okay.
And Jen's people performed with them this week called the Screaming Eagle Band. They're playing
Really?
pretty much all over the state,
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
They're very busy. They're a great band. We love working with them. Screamin' Eagle Band.
All right.
All right, so that's our headline entertainment this year.
Excellent.
And when they take a break, then Jen's girls will do the fashion show.
Fashion. Very nice.
Yes.
Okay.
How long is the fashion show going to be, Jen?
It'll be about a half hour, maybe a little less.
All right.
Yeah.
And what else would you like to mention there, sir? Any other?
Well, I mentioned the
what else
$5
didn't we talk about?
donation.
Yeah, yeah.
Coming in, okay?
Right.
That's for the
To-
average guy that just wants to bring his bike in.
Right.
Park on Main Street or
Yeah.
park on the green, et cetera, and enjoy the festivities.
Okay.
All right. We also have a show bike area, which is right
Yes.
next to the stage.
Yeah.
To get in there, you have to have what you would consider maybe, or an individual would consider a show bike.
Okay.
Okay, that fee is $10.
Okay.
Okay, those bikes will be judged by our sponsors.
Okay.
Like Heyman Law, Hunters, okay.
Yep.
You know,
Jangers.
Jangris, Eli Cannons. I don't want to name the whole list again.
No, no, no.
They'll get awards for that. Last year was the first time we did the antique bikes. And by antique, we mean it's got to be 81 and older. So we had some really old bikes there last year.
Really neat
You know,
stuff.
there was some really
Cool.
neat stuff. So there were 5 awards in that category, and then I believe we had 10 in the regular category. And the category is just depends on what the sponsor wants to call it.
Okay.
I mean, best looking bike, high tech bike, best paint job bike, and that's up to them.
Right.
Pretty much to pick out what they want to pick out for bike and what they want to call the award, cleanest bike, whatever.
Exactly.
You know, sharpest looking bike, loudest bike, I don't know. You know, it's up to the vendors or the sponsors actually to decide how they want to do that. So that's a $10 fee for those bikes.
Okay.
Once the sponsors pick the bikes, at the end of the night, we pull them out, line them up in a row, and we do a picture taking session with the bike owner,
Yep.
okay, and whoever sponsored the bike, like Jangris or
Yep.
Hunters. And we'll do a picture session with them and post their name on the website later so people will know, you know, and it's a big thing for some of these guys to get
It
an
is.
award. You know, some
Right.
have, few of them gotten awards every year.
Yeah.
Really?
You know, with different bikes, so
Right.
it's gets to be pretty competitive.
Really?
Probably have 45 bikes in the regular show bike section, and probably 35 last year in the pre-night 81, the antique vintage one. Part of that antique vintage one too, Pete, was last
Sure.
year. We found out the Indian motorcycle
Yep. Sure.
was actually first conceived in Middletown. We
Really?
found the exact site. We
Really?
found the cornerstone of the building, and last year we were trying to coordinate that with a dedication of
Mm-hmm.
a plaque. But it was trying to pull all this info together and nail it down. It didn't happen, so we
Okay.
did it a couple months later. So some people, I think Chris Hines is on our committee, probably put some more signage up.
Okay.
Up off of Church Street to direct people to that site where we did put the plaque in the ground. And there's sort of like a memorial there to Indian.
Really?
So people can walk up there if they feel like walking and observe the spot. And there are some videos on there that you could probably, if you go online, you can search them out.
Very
But,
cool.
so we've got a lot of stuff.
Really? I didn't, what you said about Indian, I did not know.
Yeah. And then they eventually moved to well, everybody knows them out of Springfield.
Right.
Eventually moved up that way. But they actually were first conceived, their first bike in Middletown.
Wow.
So,
Bet you not many people know that.
Nope, not many people do.
Wow.
Trying to think what else I missed here. Oh, look at my flyer.
I was going to say, what else?
We still got some more time here.
We do still have more time.
Okay. We do have a lot of vendors.
Yeah.
All right, they're already piling in.
That's right.
Last year, we had approximately 70. And it's probably what I'm going to cap it off again with this year.
Right.
Simple matter of space.
Right. Yeah.
We made some changes on the car show. We're going to carry some of those changes over to the motorcycle show.
All right.
Basically, the main block where the stage is in the center of town, those that are familiar with the event, is going to be basically bike vendors.
Gotcha.
Like Kawasaki, Yamaha, Suzuki, Harley, Indian,
Yep.
Victory, whatever else ones,
Whoever
Ducati,
else.
whoever comes down, BMW.
Yep.
I mean, every brand is there.
Exactly.
So that core block is going to be bike retailers and some bike people that maybe run a bike shop.
Gotcha.
And fix bikes. So that's
Yeah.
going to be the core. We're trying to free up as much space as we can on the main street because the bikers want to park on Main Street.
Right.
So we're trying to accommodate them by
Right.
doing that. This morning I took a hike down to Spear Park, right? So I got the name right this time. To Spear Park, and we've been hearing for 2 months now that they're going to level that park. It's a series of walls and patios,
Yeah.
concrete. Well, it came down today. So the plans
Really?
for that area is to grass that area. We should have enough time for the grass to take.
Yeah.
And I measured it today, and it's like 70 by 112.
All right.
So I did a grid on it, and we could fit at least 36 vendors in there.
Okay.
So that frees up all that space that we're taking on Main Street.
Yep.
And it's close to the center of town. It allows us to get more vendors in there that are non-food vendors.
Okay.
That are more bike-related, bike apparel, anything to do with motorcycles in there. So that's going to be a major help to achieve our goal of getting more bikes on Main Street.
And I was going to say, obviously, besides being right on Main Street and having the local restaurants there, you guys also we're going to have food vendors.
Yes, we're
As
going to
well?
have food vendors. We're going to put the food vendors on the corners of the streets that intersect Main Street.
Okay.
So there's like 4 corners. Try to put 2 on each, so we'll have 8 food vendors scattered around.
Very nice.
And that should accommodate the food vendors because we're going to have to limit them.
Right.
We want the food vendors to do well, but we more want the restaurants to do well.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
as Jen knows, that's their biggest night.
Of course. Oh, of
Big
course.
night.
Of course it is, because you're right downtown and. And before we forget again, when is it?
August 10th?
Yep.
A Wednesday night.
'Kay.
And I've gotten this question, you didn't ask it today, but why do you have to have it on a Wednesday? I don't get out of work till 5. Well, the reason
Well,
is...
let me ask the question then.
All right, ask the question.
Why do you have to have it on a Wednesday?
Because that's what the city tells us we have to do. The car show's on a Wednesday, the road race is on a Wednesday. Having it on a weekend,
Right.
let's put it this way, Pete, if we have 18,000 people on a Wednesday, Jen, what do you think we'd have on a weekend?
Yeah, probably double that.
Double or
At
triple
least.
that? Because now no one's working.
Right.
Right.
They'll all come.
Right.
And then we really have a problem with space, with vendors,
Security.
security. It just makes things even tougher.
That's true.
So, it's like I went to Laconia,
Oh, yeah.
Laconia on the weekends. You can't get near it. There's just so many people.
Oh.
With more people, you have more issues. So we
Oh,
like keeping
totally.
it there. Plus, Wednesday night's a slow night
Right.
Right.
on Main Street.
Right.
So it helps the businesses get through the summer.
Exactly.
So that's why we don't have it on a weekend,
So that's sort of like why you have the cruise night on Main on a.
a weekday.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, one of the bars asked me when I went in there for a lunch one day, how come you don't have it every Wednesday?
Yeah, you told me this.
And
You
I said,
so
because I would be worn silly. I wouldn't have any, I would go nuts. It's
Exactly.
Just, there's so much into planning for one night
Right.
that to do it 5 or 6 in a row,
Yeah, no.
there's no way, no way.
I was going to say, speaking of planning, how far, you guys are probably already starting to talk about next year's event.
Pretty close.
I was going to say,
We want to get through this
I
one.
was going to say, once this is over, you probably start planning next year?
Yeah, we start right away. Usually within 2 weeks of the event's ending,
Okay.
we'll have a meeting and we'll brainstorm, okay, what worked,
What didn't work, right.
What do we need to change, what do we need to add? And that's how we get started right away planning.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Jen, go ahead.
Can we talk about volunteers for a minute?
Yep.
So
Sure.
this event is a big part of why this works so well is that
Yep.
we have so many great people from businesses, people that live in town, people that live in Middlesex County,
Yep.
who come out and volunteer,
Okay.
and they do 2-hour shifts, and I'm the volunteer coordinator this year.
Aha.
So if anybody watching this
Yes.
says, you know, this sounds like something that I'd like to get involved in, how can I help? We need volunteers. They
Do
can
you?
contact the chamber and they'll put them in touch with me or Rich, and
Yeah.
and we can always use help. We need people to flag and help park, and when you're helping something like this, you're really helping to raise money for those youth programs we talked about earlier.
Right.
So we encourage everybody to come volunteer, even if it's just for an hour.
I get a friend that comes every year because he likes the free T-shirt.
Yeah. I never
Really?
got a T-shirt for the car crew still.
You have to go back, see if
I
they
have
got
to
any
go
more.
get one.
But, oh, and plus, we will be selling shirts again. This is one of the shirts we sold a couple years ago.
All right.
All right, we'll be selling shirts. We're going to have tank tops, which is something different.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, we're going to do tank tops because a lot of the girls have been asking for tank tops.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, a lot of different things every
Excellent.
year.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, we're about to run out of time, but before we say goodnight, website one more time. Go for it.
www.middletownmotorcyclemania.com.
There you go. And the event is going to happen in a couple weeks. Hopefully you guys have a great turnout.
I'm sure we
Hopefully.
will.
All right. Rich and Jennifer, I want to thank you for joining me tonight, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Pete.
On behalf of Rich, Jennifer, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks, good night, and we'll see you next week.